Live from the universe, welcome to Spiritual Awakening with Dr. Erin. It's time to claim your birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So grab your tea or coffee because together we're awakening the world. May you live your truth. Well, today is the day. 222222. Is it a portal? Is it something prophetic? What is going on exactly today? So welcome to Spiritual Awakening with Dr. Erin. We're going to break on down today's numerology and also the prophetic aspect of today. And so I just want to say, we come together to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. Together, we're awakening the world. And I know if you're here in this podcast listening, I just want to say, I love you. I'm so honored to take this journey with you. And it is such a humbling journey to live truth, to speak truth, to write truth, to breathe truth and only truth. And it is such a blessing to do it with our community and with you right here, right now. So let's break this on down. So whether you believe in numerology or whether you believe in prophetic times, everyone's a little intrigued. And if you look on Google and you Google this date right now, every single news outlet has it because people know there's a big spiritual awakening happening in the world, and people begin to get intrigued by things like a number that will only happen once in our lifetime, 222222, right? February 22nd, 2022. So here we go, you guys. So one thing I want you to know that before I did any research or anything on this, I went into a meditation and felt into the energy just on a personal level and what really was going on. So some of this is channeled and some, of course, going out and looking at the world and what other people are up to. I always do both. I always tap into source, and I always go and get confirmation basically through different texts, through different leaders in the industry as well. But I always go to source first, always channeling divine first, always, always, always. And I believe that that's really a checkpoint. And I believe something like a numerology and things like that, we want to tap into that part of ourselves to get truth first. And this used to happen years ago. I remember I would go into meditations for hours and I'd have all these downloads. And then what happened is I would go out and, research on top of that. And the confirmation for me was when the same things were coming through in my meditations and in channeling that would happen, that once I researched. And so for me, it was kind of like a confirmation of what truth is. And I believe that we should always have both. We should have that part of ourselves that taps into our own intuition and our own downloads. And we should always get confirmation from the great wisdom of all the great minds that have come before and are here on this planet now. So let's break this down. So the first thing that came through in channeling actually was the completing of a cycle. And the other thing, of course, of two being the union of relationship, knowing the ultimate relationship is with thyself. So I was down at the beach and began to just tap in, and it tapped in really fast, right? So tapping in, and what happened right away was this feeling, the first word that came through was increase. And I was like, okay. So breaking on down a few things. So here I was on the beach, calling forth, opening up to the one divine source. And when I'm channeling, I don't ask for anything. I literally set the intention and release it at the exact same moment. I go in without any mental, disruption, and I just allow whatever is to come through without any attachment to it. So again, the first kind of word, if you would, that came through is increase. And just feeling into also two, just automatically felt like two, like the union of relationship, right? So if you break on down today, it's kind of interesting because it's 2, which represents obviously February 22nd, and then 2022. So you've got an increase of 2s, 2, 1, 2, and then 2 2s, and then 3 2s. And we're on a Tuesday, right? So it's pretty interesting because if you write it out, it actually really is very clear. It's increasing, right? It goes from 1 2 to 2 2s to 3 2s, right? So there's an increase in impounding, exponential compounding. So right away, a few things came through. There's a song that actually is very church-like, and growing up a non-religious person, I was always kind of felt weird when I listened to church music, but there's a song and it's about increase. And it really is getting to the place of understanding that what are we really asking for in our experience on this life? And it really is exponential experience, exponential receptivity. When we are receiving the flow of giving and receiving, fully living in this lifetime, then we're exponentially increasing our ability to have more consciousness, to have exponential growth, to have exponential relationship, to give and receive exponential love, right? This is the increase of all of it. And it brings me to the one book that is so great called One Thing by Gary Keller, who developed the largest real estate firm in the world. And he has a book called The One Thing. And in that book, there is a metaphor on dominoes. And the point is that if you take dominoes and you start to push them down, right, the very first domino could be super small, but when it locks down the next domino, it ends up having a compounding effect. And there's a great mathematical equation on this, basically, where if you took the first domino and it was so small that you could actually take tweezers, take tweezers to actually set it in place, and you knock that down, and each domino was double the size of the first domino. By the 13th domino, you'd be at the Empire State Building. And that's the point. The point is that there is an increased factor of the universe that has exponential growth. And so today on 22222, representing relationship, the ultimate relationship is with thyself, right? So the point of today is, where are you? Where are you in your spiritual awakening and you're merging with your higher self in that relationship? Because today is going to show you the potential of an increase, an exponential miracle of your relationship with yourself. And that might be good or bad. We teach us in universal law. If you are opening up to merging in a profound way in your spiritual awakening, then today could potentially have a miracle of really awakening to your true self. So meditation and prayer is very important today for you to honor and allow that blessing to be received. And the inverted is as well true. So if you're in dysfunction, addiction, discord within, it's going to have an exponential, profound effect today, potentially, right? So you may slam to the ground, which actually can be a blessing to disguise. You may have to check yourself into rehab, right? You may need to say no more. I need support and help, whatever that is. It has an increased impact. This is what this sign, this numerology is telling us right now, right here. And the truth of the matter is that all this is true all the time. Yes, there's portals, yes, or whatever, but all of life is happening. And the universal law, how it happens, is happening all the time, not any particular day or not any particular day. It's happening all the time. Today is just a representation, and all the consciousness, whether you want to say astrologically, numerology, or just a collective consciousness, is going to be focusing on these numbers today in their consciousness, in their subconsciousness. How could you not? So know that all consciousness is holding these two exponentially increasing in their consciousness. So today is a portal, whether you want to say through astrologically or whether you want to say through the collective consciousness. Today is a portal. So you might as well use it for good. So in this union of the two, let's take this, right? We know that the ultimate relationship is within, between the self and the higher self. And so exponential increase. So my question for you is, what are you ready to exponentially increase in your relationship with yourself? Is it doing more meditation? Is it just having unconditional love? What is it that you're ready to say, you know what, universe, my higher self, divine God, I'm ready for increase. I'm ready to let go of whatever no longer serves me and receive the increase, the blessing. So if you look at the word increase, the inverted is cease. And this means this, is that if you're going to have an increase, right, an exponential blessing of increase, it means the opposite, the same. Whatever is ready to cease out of your life, whether it may be leaving a relationship that is completely toxic, whether it is letting go of that job that it does not serve you anymore, whether it is, finally taking the move or getting out in nature and saying, I'm not, going to be in front of my computer as much. Whatever it is that you're ready to let go of, whatever is ready to be ceased, is going to cease. And it doesn't necessarily always happen the way you want it to happen. It's not necessarily like a choice, like, hey, I'm choosing to, let go of anything. The universe is going to do it anyway. The moment that you truly decide what it is that you're ready to have increase, what you're really truly committed to, the universe will cease things out of your life anyway. And we see this over and over and over again. So this last week, we had a dear soul sister in our community. And I want to give a shout out to our Hillary Sepulveda, who is a dear friend, dear sister, and a dear leader in our community. And she has been in a series of different surgeries because she had some things with veins and she had to go and do multiple surgeries. Meanwhile, she's rising in leadership, and she keeps praying to her higher self, saying, please let go of anything that's no longer serving me. I let go of everything that's no longer serving me. Show me whatever, show me the path of letting go of everything so I can become the best world-renowned spiritual leader. And she's praying and praying and praying for this, right? And so what does this mean? Be careful what you ask for, right? Because this is the biggest thing about manifestation and prayer and everything is whatever be careful what you ask for, because it's not about getting something in prayer. It's about becoming something in prayer. So what happens? She actually had multiple surgeries, and she actually thought she had a stroke, and she went into the hospital. And once that her face was a little bit more droopy, as happens with some strokes, right? And she had such a powerful consciousness the whole time. This is a trained practitioner, right? And she knew the truth the entire time. And one, we all began to pray, not to a man in the sky, but really knowing and expanding consciousness, so knowing the perfection in prayer, just like she was doing for herself. We have to get okay with worst case scenario, and we have to also know the blessing and miracle that potentially can happen. So fast forward the next day, she calls up and says, you know what? The MRI came back. I didn't have a stroke. And potentially, I can, whatever, it doesn't matter the outcome of whether her, face goes back 100% or not. Whatever the point is that prayer works, first of all. And the point is that she asked to have release, right? Imagine the advanced practice of releasing the attachment to how your face looks. That's a blessing. Some people say, oh, that's the worst thing ever happened to somebody. It could be the best blessing of your life, because now you're able to have an increase that you never knew was possible. The releasing of needing to look a particular way in order to. What a blessing to let go of the body. What a blessing to let go of whatever. And obviously she's gorgeous and regardless of whatever, and her face is almost back to normal already, right? The point is that increase does not always look how you think it's going to look. We think that the blessing might look like, wow, I got $1 million, or wow, I met somebody. It's not always how it looks. It's not always how you think it's going to look. The blessing comes in incredible ways. The universe will never give you the next challenge unless it is a blessing of who you're going to become in that challenge. So today, as you go into this day, yes, expect increase. Yes, expect miracle. Yes, expect exponential growth of all relationships with thyself and with all relationships. But it might look different than what you think it's going to look like. Depending on where you are in your spiritual development, depending on where you are and what that is, it may look like a really hard thing comes in, or it might look like a blessing. The point is, it doesn't matter, because all that matters is your perception. Your consciousness is going to decide whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. And the universe is just going to say, and so it is. So know this for sure. The universe only has abundance. The exponential growth today, the exponential increase today is always, that's how the universe works. It only works in abundance. It only knows exponential mathematical equations. It only knows this. Today is a day of increase in all relationships. May you go first to the most important relationship today, with yourself, and go in there so deeply in your heart with thyself, expanding and coming into the union, marrying thyself, having the union with thyself, having a celebration, having a ceremony to go within and know thyself and love thyself and be one with thyself. And in that, I know for sure the increase of all relationship. Your relationship with people, your relationship with earth, your relationship with money, your relationship with your body, your relationship with your environment, your relationship. It all is relationship. All of life is a relationship. And therefore, today is the dynamic of increase of all of life. Have at it, you guys. Have a beautiful, blessed day on this day of twos, on 2-2-2-2-2-2. As together we say, and so it is. And if you're somebody who's desiring to have a spiritual community, I highly recommend that you come into our community. I actually am holding a call this week, which is a breakthrough discovery call. You can find it below in the link here, or you can also find me over on social media at drerin.tv. No matter which platform you're on, this is across all boards, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, everything, usually coming out with a weekly podcast. Please share and like this. It'd be great to know you. We have an incredible global community of spiritually based entrepreneurs and people who just want to learn trauma work. I'm the creator of E4 Trauma Method, and we train and develop master spiritual psychology coaches and practitioners and teachers of New Thought metaphysics, and of course, doctors of divinity. So have a beautiful, blessed day. You can go to newthoughtglobal.com. It's newthoughtglobal.com, or you can find us across all social media, drerin.tv, drein.tv, or New Thought Global. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and may you live your truth. Thank you for tuning into the Dr. Erin podcast. If you've had a spiritual calling or desire to get certified as a spiritual coach or a world-renowned spiritual leader, go to newthoughtglobal.com. If you've received value from this show, I would love it if you share it with a friend and give it a 5-star review. Also, we have spiritual practitioners that are trained to deliver the E4 Trauma Method and assist you in birthing your truth. So let's be friends on social media. Again, my handle is drerin.tv across all social media. Have a beautiful day, and may you live your truth.